y'all. This is it. This is it. So this is our second interview. The first interview was done live here in the group during one of our chat and check-ins. And this is the first time I am going to speak to someone face-to-face and get their story. And I have known this lady for several years. Our children were friends and grew up together, and our paths have crossed multiple times over the years. I consider her a very good friend of mine, and I can't wait for y'all to hear her story. Y'all, it's an amazing story, and I can't wait for y'all to meet her and hear her story and fall in love with her just like I have always been. She is an absolute sweetheart. I'm nervous, okay? I don't know why, but I am very nervous. So I am trying my best to make sure that I am doing her story justice with this video, and I'm very nervous about that. Hopefully this turns out okay, and hopefully I don't screw this up too bad, and hopefully my technique gets better. All the things, we'll see. I just want her to be comfortable and for her to be, you know what I'm saying? Lord have mercy, I need to calm down and be comfortable. I am so nervous, and I don't know why. She knows my story. I know her story. We have talked about things that have gone on in both of our lives at different times. But yeah, I'm nervous. So fingers crossed this all comes out good, and y'all say a prayer for me. Anyway, I am almost there. So yeah, let's go, y'all. Let's do this. All right. So we are here today, this evening, with Miss Carol. And Miss Carol, I have to put this out there right at the beginning. You are agreeing to this being shared on social media, on my YouTube channel, and you agree to that, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good deal. You want to introduce yourself and just jump right into it, however you're comfortable with it.
Hi, I'm Carol Adkins, and Missy and I have known each other many years. Our boys were pals growing up, and we just got acquainted then. And we still share things together as far as our sons. And I'll just kind of go into a little bit of my past with him. My son Dylan, I think around 14, we realized that he was on drugs. My husband has had many surgeries on his back, and so he had pain medicine in the house. We raised our boys, to be honest and not to steal, and we warned them about the dangers of drugs and did all the things, that you do as a parent. And we felt perfectly comfortable with, leaving them put up, but, out of sight, but not locked up, because never thought anything about it. And one day it just kind of came to a head, and Dylan, we noticed that things were a little off with him, but we thought he's a teenager, hormones, all the things. So we kind of just chalked it up to him being different. He was our youngest, child. And so, we were just kind of going with the flow, so to speak. And of course, also during this time, a few years before that, is when my husband had multiple surgeries and we were dealing with that. He was out of work because of the surgeries, and I was in school trying to, be the breadwinner. And so we weren't really engaged with him, or our oldest either for that matter, like we probably should have been. But of course, during that time, we were too busy living life. You know how you do. Kids come home, you fix dinner, do the homework, all that stuff. Well, one day, um, we was kind of confronted with the fact, hey, do you know your son is hanging around some kids that do drugs? And we're like, you're kidding, not our son. I just don't know, maybe he's had interactions with this child, but he's surely not hanging around those types of kids. So we asked Dylan about it. Yes, this guy was his friend, but he swore up and down, no, he didn't do those kind of things. So then we really got to paying attention to my husband's medicine, and more of it was disappearing. And so we thought, what's going on? And it even got to the point where my husband asked me, are you taking my pain pills? And I'm like, what?
Wow. Wow.
And I'm just dumbfounded. You're asking me, your wife, and so we went through all of that. Asked the oldest son, asked the youngest son. Well, of course, the youngest, no, no, no. And we just went on like that. Tensions were, really on edge, and we just didn't know what was going on. Although, looking back on it, red flags everywhere. But we, both of us, my husband and I, grew up not around those types of things. Our families, our parents were together all their married life. We just, we went to church. We raised our boys in church. Those types of things don't happen to people like us.
It wasn't supposed to be like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, we were following all the rules and whatever. And so, finally, Dylan admits to us, yes, I have a problem. And so we're like, oh my gosh, finally we're finding out what's going on, which at the same time, we're just like deer in the headlights. Now what do? We had no idea what to do. And so he told us, and he was about 15 at the time, that he felt like he needed to go somewhere to deal with his drug problem. So the first thing we did is we took him to Knoxville. He was in-house there. I want to say it was 6 weeks maybe. And we're thinking, oh, okay, he'll get there, he'll get help, he'll come home, life will go on. And boy, were we in for a shock. So he does that, comes home, turns right around and does drugs again. And continually getting different kinds of drugs. It went beyond pain medicine. It was marijuana. It was, we found out later that he was shooting heroin. These things that, no, I see this in movies. This can't be happening to our family.
Yeah.
And he has been in jail 3 different times. During all this, he ended up quitting high school. He got involved with this girl that we warned him not to get involved with, and you know, we just didn't know what to do. But he ended up having a child with her. And so we're like, what do we do? Because neither one of them are capable of taking care of this child. So I, when she was having, of course, her being on drugs, she had to be, in special obstetrics and, all the things that should not have happened to our grandbaby. But she continued to use drugs while pregnant, and she ended up delivering a month early. And her name is Charlie, sweetest little thing you've ever seen. But she was born addicted.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I had no clue.
Yeah. And she went through the withdrawals and as an infant, and talking about heartbreaking. There's this itty bitty baby shaking and crying, and it absolutely tore us up. And had all the tubes and all this stuff. And both of them are oblivious. Oh, look at our beautiful baby, and all this. Yes, she's beautiful, but she's sick. I mean, thank God, everything, as far as health goes, apart from that, as far as we knew, she was okay. Well, she stayed in the hospital a few days, and they got her, weaned off. She had to be on different drugs to help bring her down. And so she finally got to come home, and I warned the hospital. I said, okay, so they're drug users. I don't know where they're going after this, because they didn't have a home. So of course mom lied and said, oh, they were going to be moving in with her grandmother. That lasted 2 weeks, and grandmother and them were already fighting and carrying on. Well, can they move in with us? I didn't like it, but for Charlie's sake, so we would know that she was taken care of, she was warm, comfortable, fed, all those things. So they moved in, and I cannot tell you how many times that I went to check on her, and they would have her laying in the bed rolled on top of her. Oh my God. So, at that point, we're like, they cannot leave here with this baby. Mm-hmm. And as it turned out, kind of like what we figured, and I even told my husband, we'll end up with that baby. Mm-hmm. Because we don't have a choice. This child cannot defend herself. And so they kept saying, oh, can you watch her? We just are tired, blah, blah, blah. So we had her at least 5 out of 7 days, And when we didn't have her, somebody else usually did. And we ended up moving from the house we did live in, and not very far, just a few miles. But when we did that, it kind of changed the dynamics. We did not tell, because mom and dad were kind of continually fighting amongst themselves, and they did not stay together, which is really a good thing. But we did not tell her where we lived. So our son moved with us, and we told him, don't tell her where we live, because we don't know what's going to happen. Well, when Charlie was about a year old, we decided we're going to go to court, because they could not stay clean. They could not take care of her. And we wanted legal abilities to be able to take care of her, mm-hmm. take her to the doctor, and to keep them from coming and saying, okay, we're taking Charlie with us. We're taking her home. Because we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on when she wasn't with us. So we did that. Of course, that got everybody mad. It got her family mad. It got her mad. It got, my son was upset. But I think Dylan kind of understood where we were coming from as far as, you know, that neither one of you are capable of taking care of her all the time.
Yeah.
Because you sit there, you fall asleep, she's crying, you don't know because you're out of it. And he did say, well, yes, that's probably the best thing for her. Several times during the years that we, had Charlie, he kind of would come bring it, up in our face. Well, you took her away from us and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, can't you see how well she's doing? She did have a speech problem. When we realized that, she's showing signs of, having problems, we got her into speech, we got her into OT, we got her into PT, all those things just so she could kind of keep up. She does well in school right now, but she still is kind of delayed a little bit as far as her schoolwork. She excels in math, but reading she really has a hard time with. So years passed, and mom and dad tried, to get cleaned up. We went through that several times, though. Yep, we're clean. We went to rehab. We're clean. And I'm like, okay, you were in rehab 4 weeks. You were in rehab 6 weeks. Show me long term.
Outside of all of that, in the real world,
Absolutely.
Where all your friends are,
Yes, yes. And we knew as long as they kept coming back to the same place, their friends, so-called friends, are going to look them up. Hey, how about some of this? How about some of that? Sure enough, time after time, they went right back to it. And as a matter of fact, Dylan, I think, was about 18. He went to Savannah, Georgia to a rehab. Best place in the world. And he was there 8 months. And he looked fantastic. He spoke like our old Dylan did. He just had a whole new outlook. He was happy. And we were trying to encourage him. Why don't you stay there? Why don't you work there with them? Bring people in, and you've been there. You know what to do. And he thought about it, decided he wanted to come home. What do you know? It wasn't 2 weeks later, and all that clean, work that he had done was gone.
Wow.
It was totally gone because he came home and some of his cronies come around and wanted him to do drugs. I mean, what kind of friends is that, And of course, we know they're not friends. And as a matter of fact, I think about 4 different friends, so-called friends, that Dylan had in high school are now dead.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Overdoses, And that really, especially one particular friend, that really, hit him. So moving forward, Charlie is now 7. Mom said she got herself cleaned up. She presented paperwork to the courts. Supposedly, she got clean. And we went through this. He said that he wanted her to be clean at least a year. I don't really feel like it was a whole year, but she knows how to work the court system and all this. So she ended up getting, at first, partial custody, 50% custody. And so she had her about 2 or 3 days, usually weekends, because, we were sending her to school and that kind of thing. And then, Dylan lived with us, and he kept losing jobs and laid on my couch and all this. And people would say, "Why do you put up with that?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's my baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this man that was there was on drugs. He did not look, he did not act like my son,
Mm-hmm.
but he was still my son, and he was my baby.
Yeah.
And finally, I had some friends encouraging me, saying, you and your husband are really getting weighed down by this, and you are not even yourselves anymore. You just drag around. And we were just absolutely numb to all this, because it's like, when we come home, what kind of hell are we going to be looking at now? What is he going to be alive when we get home?
Yeah.
We didn't know. And we finally, I kind of had a little breakdown, I guess. I went to my best friend's. I stayed with her for a couple weeks, and I told, and I mean, bless his heart, I left my husband here with our son, to deal with it. And he kept talking to me, and I said, I think I know now what we have to do. We have to kick him out.
Mm-hmm.
That's and my husband's like, "What's he gonna do? Where is he gonna go?" And I'm like, "He's gonna have to figure it out. He's grown. He has got to wake up. Whether he dies, whether he turns the corner and lives, I don't know, but we need to save ourselves."
Mm-hmm.
Because we have Charlie. At the time, we had Charlie. So we had to be there. We had to protect her. Not that he would intentionally hurt her, but we had to protect her from being subjected to all this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my husband and I went back and forth, and he finally said, "Okay, we'll do it." And so it turned out that he had a little girlfriend. She also, kind of the same scenario, she had a couple of kids. She had been on drugs, but had been off drugs. She actually got off of drugs before she got pregnant with her child. So, that in itself, I was a little bit worried about him being involved with her, just because I thought, oh, is he going to pull her down, get her back on drugs or whatever? But as it's turned out, she has been a tower of strength for him. She kicks his butt when he needs it, but thank God, as of right now, as far as I know, my son is clean. I cannot tell you, even begin to express how thankful we are to still have our son. And yes, we kicked him out. We didn't know. But I kept thinking about, Moses' mama putting him in that little basket and pushing him out in the water. And I'm like, it's kind of what we're doing with Dylan. We just had to push him away and pray that God would take care of him. And he did. Dylan has been clean for over a year, about a year and a half. He and his girlfriend are planning to get married. Dylan now has Charlie 50-50. I just want to let you all know there's hope. Don't give up on him. You might have to be mean to him, you might have to kick him to the curb. But there's hope. I didn't know if I'd ever see my son clean again. I didn't know if I'd have to look at his body laying in a box. And I still know I'm not dumb to the fact that all his life he's gonna fight this. I know that. And we've told him, keep trusting God to help you. You're better than this. You're a good man. He's had the second job now for a year and a half. He's working hard. He did take Charlie's mama to court and get at least partial custody of Charlie. And I'm so proud of him. I just can't even tell you how proud I am of that kid. He's now 30 years old. He was on drugs 15, 16 years. And I know that's pretty good because, a lot of these people don't even make it that long. And I know it was the faith and the prayers that kept praying for him that let him live this long and got him to the point he's at, because I told him, that baby needs you.
Mm-hmm.
She needs her daddy. We're not supposed to be raising her. That is not our job. We raised you and your brother. We want to be grandparents. We want to pick her up and bring her over and spend the night with Nanny and Papa and take her places, We want to be grandparents to her. And so it was hard. It was so hard when she left here, knowing she wasn't going to be back that night, or, we wasn't going to be able to see her every day. It was so hard. But please don't give up. Do not give up. Yes, be mean if you have to be mean.
Tough love.
Yes, but you might be saving your child's life. And thank you all for listening to me. I appreciate it so much. But when Missy asked me if I wanted to do this, I said yes, because I wished I would have had the same kind of hope. But there isn't a thing like this. There isn't a network. Yes, you can go to, Al-Anon or all that stuff, but that's not really
geared towards
exactly
this.
It's not geared towards family raising kids and all that kind of thing. And please reach out if you want to talk to me. Please reach out. Missy can get a hold of me, and or you can just put on the page, "Hey Carol," and I'll be glad to talk to any of you. But thank you so much, and thank you, Missy.
Thank you so much. So I want to add this little tidbit, because I owe you a huge thank you and also a huge apology. Carol and I saw each other at Bible school. Aiden was attending a Bible school this past summer, and Carol was there helping, and we hadn't seen each other in quite a while. It'd been a little bit.
It had been.
And we were kind of sitting there catching up, and Aiden is trying to video call me.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he's all about Nanny. Anyway, we were sitting there catching up, and I asked, "Where's Charlie? Is she here?" And Carol said, I think it was something to the effect of, "I'm back to being a grandparent again." And I know my face just melted. I know it dropped. I know it did. Because in that moment, and it wasn't to take your joy away or anything like that, it was just in that very moment, I had the hard realization that my baby would never have that. I had never really thought about that even being an option. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And then you said that, and I'm like, I know, I felt it, and I started crying, and I could not control my emotions that night. I just couldn't, and I am so sorry. I did not do that to take your joy away.
Oh, I know you
It
didn't.
was, I mean, that was music to my ears to hear, that Dylan was clean, he was sober,
Yes.
he was doing the things he needed to do in order to be a dad and a son and a friend and all the things. I'm so proud of that boy. I am
Thank you.
so proud of him, and so happy for Miss Charlie. She is a little firecracker now.
Yes, she is.
So I just wanted to say that to you. We'll have to do an update with where Miss Charlie's at and how Dylan's doing and
Yes,
all that
absolutely.
one of these
Yes.
days.
And I guess at the same time, when you said that, I mean, I could tell, that you were very emotional when we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I hoped you didn't think I was kind of throwing that on you,
Oh, no,
like,
no.
look here, look at my kid, because I know the heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
I know where you are and where you've been.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you are raising your baby's baby, you go through a lot of different things that you didn't have to go through as a mama.
Yeah.
And just so much to go through. And a lot of explaining to do to people. And,
Yes. I mean, look at us. I had no clue that you were raising your grandchild.
Yeah.
For you had her for a while before it clicked with me.
Yeah.
No clue, and that's an issue in this area, especially because people find it to be taboo. As you know, I put this out in several different Facebook groups and communities and things, and one man said that these are God-fearing Christian people, and they would never, ever open their mouths and air their dirty laundry like this. That's the problem.
It is the problem. It's our community's dirty little secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care how you've raised your child, because you've done the best you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But I want everybody to know this thing is no respecter of persons. If your child, gets that first taste of those drugs, they're going to have some problems. And, you just can't say, and I wanted to reason with God. We're Christians. We've raised him in church.
Exactly.
Every Sunday morning, every Sunday night,
Exactly.
every Wednesday, we took him to all the youth things. We, very involved and all this. That can't happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, our families has never gone through this.
Yeah. We live in the middle of the Bible Belt, for goodness sake.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is not supposed to be that way with us.
That's right. That's right. And
it happens.
You hear people, well, did you know that so-and-so's child is on drugs, and
and they're raising that grandbaby.
Yep. And
they're killing themselves.
Yep. And you hear people that, I wouldn't put up with that. I do this and I would do that. Well, bless your heart. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you would do.
And that bless your heart's in a derogatory way, by the way. Okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a difference.
There is. There absolutely is. Because you don't know until you're slapped in the face with it what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I did not know what we were going to do the next day. Mm-hmm. I cannot even tell you the things that we've been put through.
And it's hard when they're living with you in active addiction. It makes your house a war zone.
Yes.
And you don't even feel like it's your safe space anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere you don't even want to be.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely
right.
You'd rather do anything than go home and have to deal with them and the shouting and the screaming and
Yeah.
the name calling and all that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the tables could turn at any time, just as you do.
Yeah.
We're not, and we will never be in the safe zone.
No, I feel like I'll be holding my breath till the day I die.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
Yeah.
Don't let me get that call that something's happened.
Yep. And if you ever do get to the point to where you just kind of let that breath out and start to take another one, it's like, oh Lord, you want to say a prayer before you do, because you don't know.
Exactly.
You don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know. My favorite thing is I'm waiting on the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sad that there are millions of us as moms that will walk on pins and needles and eggshells for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
Waiting on the other shoe to drop.
Yes.
And that's hard.
It is.
That's hard to swallow for me.
Yes.
I want my life back. I didn't ask for this. You didn't ask for this.
No, ma'am.
This was something we had no control over, none whatsoever. And yet we're in this tornado with them.
Yes.
And that's what it feels like.
It does.
Sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
And we'll never get off this roller coaster. Never. So, thank you.
Thank you for letting me do this.
Thank you, Miss Lucy, for letting me set this close to Mama. Yeah.
And I'm sorry that her head was right here there for a minute.
It's fine. It is fine. It is fine. I have a little boy that keeps trying to video call. So, yeah. He's great. He's great. All right. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for supporting our little channel. Thank y'all for taking the time to spend with us. If you have any questions for Miss Carol, leave them down below. We will figure out a way for them to get in touch with you and all the things.
Absolutely.
And I will put that information in the description box with this video. So much love to each and every one of you guys, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.